in West Africa, in Gabon, where Brice Oligui Nguema created a new constitution which allowed him to run as president, created 2 terms, 7-year terms, remarkable parallels, and then he ran an election, and then he won in it, and now he's the elected president of Gabon. I think that's the intention.
South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile will today visit the family of his late predecessor, David Mabuza, in Bryanston, Johannesburg. Mabuza died yesterday at the age of 64. He served as Deputy President from 2018 to 2023 under President Cyril Ramaphosa. Mabuza also served as Mpumalanga Premier from 2009 to 2018. He resigned as a Member of Parliament in 2023. This paved the way for Ramaphosa to appoint Mashatile to succeed Mabuza. The medical charity MSF has detailed appalling conditions faced by civilians in Sudan's Darfur region, where the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces are vying for control. The agency documents indiscriminate bombings, executions and starvation. BBC's Kalkadel Yabolta explains.
The report by Médecins Sans Frontières is the latest to detail atrocities committed in Sudan in a conflict that's been called the world's neglected war. According to survivors and victims, over the 12 months to May, villages and houses have been indiscriminately shelled, properties looted, and civilians executed. Non-Arab communities, especially the Zaghawa, have been targeted by the paramilitary rapid support forces, whose fighters have vowed to clean the city of Al-Fashar of non-Arabs. The group has previously denied committing ethnically motivated attacks against civilians.
The Northern Cape High Court has found the South African National Defence Force soldier Desmond Zwakala guilty of shooting and killing Kimberley Boys High Lena Amkhelang Asahai. His co-accused, who was allegedly driver of the vehicle that stepped off after Asahai was shot, was found not guilty. Asahai was killed in October 2022 after Zwakala accused him of stealing his son's cell phone. Gabetswe Siakocho explains.
Now we can start the journey to healing, now that he's been found guilty. I think we return to court tomorrow for sentencing. But it's been quite a challenging and tumultuous 3 years for my family and I. And not only my family, everybody that Amokhalang's impacted.
And lastly, Russia has launched a large-scale drone and missile attack on Kyiv. The Ukrainian authorities say almost every district of the capital has sustained damage in the overnight bombardment. The attack comes hours after U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters he had spoken to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, by phone.
We had a call. It was a pretty long call. We talked about a lot of things, including Iran. And we also talked about, as you know, the war with Ukraine. And I'm not happy about that. I didn't make any progress with them today at all.
Recapping on your top stories, Guinea's political landscape is once again stirring debate following the unveiling of a controversial draft constitution. The new text proposes a single 7-year presidential term, renewable once, notably opening the door for military leader Mamadi Doumbouya to run in the upcoming elections. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I'm Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, good morning, everybody. You are listening to Channel Africa. Welcome to our show. Thanks to Peter and Asanda for keeping us going this morning. It's been a good morning, making sure that we know what's happening, especially before the weekend, because, on the weekend, we kind of come to this news halt and then we wait for Monday again for the news again. But definitely they've given us a huge understanding of what's happening in the news on the continent. The 3-hour ride is definitely very contextual. Well, let's move into what's coming up on the show today. It's a Friday, and we always have a little bit more fun on a Friday. And we always have fun every single day. But on a Friday, we kind of are really intentional about having fun. So we're going to be looking at many cool conversations around the cultural economy in the world, and it's something that we love doing. But let me cite that our guest today is a very well-known rapper in South Africa, a very much of a hit maker. We're going to be speaking to KO. Looking forward to that one. He'll be joining us in the final hour in our show. So that's going to be a cool interview that's coming up. And then in our first hour, we're going to be looking at this. As much as aesthetically, owning a real book in contemporary times can be a bit of, a task. I know I'm a bit of a minimalist. I don't want a whole lot of bookshelves in my home. And it's buying a book, let me go digital rather. But you know what? Owning a real book has now become cultural currency. It's become an aesthetic statement as much as a portal to another world. I think it's because most of the time when you do buy a book these days, it's really intentional. And when you go to a bookstore, you really want that material. But over the past few years, people have started shelving devices and reverting to turning pages of physical books. Social media is full of it. Channels like Book Talk, even Instagram, turning the well-reading culture into a sexy cultural winner. Reading is no longer just a part-time. It's becoming a cultural currency, and it's very hot. So we're going to be speaking about that. We're going to be speaking to published author Pindi Leyenda about why libraries are suddenly popular again and why printed books are the in thing. I love that fact that it is happening. That's the case. I know I'm buying less books because I think I'm becoming more intentional about the digital books that I have and also the physical books that I have. So that's going to be an interesting conversation coming up. And then we're going to be looking at the expansion of Africa's film industry. There's no doubt that with streaming platforms like Netflix, we're seeing an expansion on the continent's film industries, boosting production values, it's creating jobs, giving African storytellers access to a global audience. And we're going to be speaking about this one, and we'll be speaking to Wunpini Fatimata Mohammed, who's an assistant professor of communication at Cornell University in Manchester, who's recently examined US streamers having their own take on stories being told in films in Nigeria and Ghana. She's going to join us on the line to talk about why African creative workers need to be careful about interest from global conglomerates. Really, we're going to find out why, because the streamable format also tells its own dynamic in terms of this kind of stories that it demands. So that's going to be a cool conversation coming up.
Well, good morning and happy Friday. We look forward to spending the next 3 hours with you. Do join us on our socials. Of course, you're listening to us live, but we also want to interact with you and enjoy this Friday together at Channel Africa 1. Find us there on most of our platforms. That's X, Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. We are live, streaming live from YouTube and Facebook. So be a part of the Channel Africa family. And let's also hear your voice on +27 63406 9126. Happy Friday and welcome to On The Move.
This Mandela Month, we honor his belief that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world.
Education is one of the most important weapons in a country.
Catch us on DSTV Bouquet 802.
Você é fluente em português? É apaixonado por rádio e quer trabalhar na África do Sul? Você tem documentos que o qualificam para trabalhar na África do Sul? Nesse caso, podemos ter uma oportunidade para você trabalhar no Canal África. Envie seu currículo e demonstração para Canal África @ newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Lembre-se, se você não receber alguma resposta nossa em 14 dias, isso significa que você não foi selecionado. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Get set and be ready to go. On the Move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Have you heard the term bookish cool? This is nothing new, but it's definitely a movement that is being revived. The idea that a real book in your hands, turning the pages, is actually a thing of now. We bring back that culture. It seems like reading a book is something that is not just an aesthetic, but a lifestyle that is resurging. We know that with literacy figures very, 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 very low in Africa, maybe this is a cool step in moving things forward. Owning a real book has become a currency. It's become an aesthetic that many, many people are starting to revive over the past few years. People have started shelving devices and reverting to turning pages of physical books. In Europe, it's very interesting. I've seen stuff on social media platforms like Instagram where you have silent reading events where people will gather into an outside space, right? And they would sit on benches and they would sit on stages and they would just sit quietly reading. And that would be maybe an hour of 2 hours or so that people are dedicating their time to silence and reading. You're seeing that popping up in different parts of the world. I know in Asia, you've got reading cafes where people have a station where they put away their phones and they get into this coffee shop and they have their coffee and their books and there's maybe a little bit of soft music in the background and you get to listen to music while reading and maybe having your coffee, but no devices are allowed in those areas. So this is what we call bookish cool, and we're seeing this resurgence happening, and it's a literary movement, definitely. Excuse the pun there. We're joined by published author Pindile Yende, who is going to tell us why this is all happening. Pindile, welcome on the show.
Hi, Benjamin. Hi, Palesa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm very well, thank you, and thank you for having me on your show.
Fantastic. We love having bubbly people like you already. We want to talk to you, right? Let's talk a little bit about, the difference. At times I know I'm buying less books. In fact, what I'm doing now is that the physical books that I have, there's books that I've bought in markets, old books that I haven't read and I've kept in my library that now I'm taking out and actually starting to read. But new books, I'm very intentional about why I'm going to actually buy a book in itself. But then other books are going to be digital because I know that they're not going to have that laborious presence in my house because there's not enough space, right? But definitely reading is becoming something that is a cool thing, right? It's almost like also like an elitist thing to a certain degree, because I think we pride ourselves on it because like not all of us are doing it, or maybe I'm wrong.
No, but that's correct. And the reason why you can call it elitist is because books are also not cheap.
Yeah.
So only certain people can actually go into a bookstore and say, I'm going to buy books that I can read. Not everybody has the luxury to do that. So being able to actually purchase a book has also become some sort of a luxury, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, and that luxury in itself is something that is reflective of the times, because there's a why people are actually finding books as an escape, because most of the time in this contemporary setup, we're always on our devices, right? That's kind of the new book. You're always kind of paging through these different social media pages, but there's really no deep context to it, and there's no silence. There's a lot of noise in that social media, platform. But reading gives you a space, actually, just to take time away from many, many sounds and noises of different voices and just concentrate on one theme.
That's correct. And, I always say to people, as you've just mentioned, that reading does become an escape. You must remember that there's so much happening around us in the world. So the moment you actually just get to hold that book in your hand, the moment you just get to smell the pages of the book, the anticipation of turning pages, it's a completely different world for you. It's as if you've now stepped out of your real world and you've stepped into a completely new world. And the beautiful thing about it is that you choose that world that you want to escape into. into, so that's why it is so nice to actually be able to have that luxury to escape into that world and buying books to be able to have that time to yourself.
And it's not imposed by some algorithm, right? It's something that you making a decision to actually personally want to actually get into.
Absolutely. And what we also don't realize is that your books open up your mind a lot, and I can tell you right now, I'm reading now A New Earth, right? And I have realized that there is so much about myself that I am changing without me being aware of it, right? And what helps is that when you now see somebody else who is reading, you find it cool that, oh my gosh, I wonder what's changing about this person. I wonder what knowledge this person is getting, and how can that person impact my life with what it is that they're reading. So that's why it's become a cool thing now, especially when you see people who read, like, I want to get to know that person. Let's speak about the books that this person is reading. Let's see what information they're able to pour into me, and the information that I'm able to pour into them. There's conversations, there's debating, there is disagreements, there's agreements, so it also helps with that whole concept of communicating and getting to know people better.
And also, it's not shareable. I love I'm doing this contrast between social media and books, because I think it's one of those things that we've lost. Books are not easily shareable, right? They are things that you can tell someone about it, right? You can give someone a little bit of a sum up of what's happening in that book, but you can't fully share it like sharing a 1 minute video. The book is all yours. It's sitting in your consciousness. It's sitting in the stream of your mind, and only you know what's actually in that book, because you went through the experience from page 1 to page 1,500.
Yes, but you know what? I'd like to beg to differ a little when it comes to what you've just said, right? You are able to share the book and how it impacts you. As I have said, yes, you cannot share it and say, oh, this is what the book is about and all of that. But I can tell you that even with my social media posts, a lot of the things that I say are from the books that I've read.
Yeah.
So I may not be saying that, oh, I got this from this specific book and that specific book, but everything that I'm uttering at that moment and the knowledge I'm sharing on my social media pages, it's from all the books that I have been reading. So you are able to share them, just not by saying which book it is that you're sharing from.
Yeah. So when we look at what's happening, in the world, I don't think it's happening as much here in Africa, right, where people are actually finding locations, and it's becoming eventing where, people are literally concentrating on public reading, and they will create these environments whereby reading is the focus. What's your take on those interesting developments?
As I mentioned earlier, it's all reading is a luxury. We know that in Africa, we have a lot of disadvantaged communities that don't have the privilege to go into a coffee shop and read and all of this. There's so many other things that we are concerned about: survival, food security, and all of those things, So, but I do think that there will come a stage in which we will tap into that. Our generation is slowly getting into that. There's book clubs that are mushrooming now, where people are meeting and discussing book clubs, just not in that kind of a setup where one pops into a coffee shop and they spend 2 hours reading a book, but there are book clubs in which they'll meet once every month. I attend a lot of book clubs myself where I'll get invited, and we plan towards it, and we'll have coffee, we'll have tea, we'll discuss the book that I've written and all of that. So it is done just differently, and I believe that as time goes on, we will tap into that, whereas we now have coffee shops where we can just pop in and we can all just sit silently and read, like you've just mentioned right now.
Well, we're speaking to Pindile Yende, a published author, and we're chatting a little bit more about reading culture in general, but also looking at the return of the physical book. Maybe we can expand on that. Does it have any kind of a difference to the digital aspects of how we are doing reading? I know that we love the Twitter kind of reading where there's just 50 words in the whole context, and you can't get more than that. We'll continue about that after our break. It's 20 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. Let's take a break. We'll be back.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go.
Zilipendwa
na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Bana Boy huyo anajulikana kama Damini Ebunoluwa Ogolo, maarufu kama Bana Boy. Alizaliwa Julai 2 mwaka 1991. Ni mwimbaji na mwandishi wa nyimbo kutoka nchini Nigeria. Alipata umaarufu mnamo mwaka 2012 baada ya kutoa wimbo wake wa kwanza kabisa ambao ulijulikana kwa jina la Like to Party kutoka ndani ya studio Live 2013. Mnamo mwaka wa 2017 Bana Boy alisaini na bendi Habit Atlantic Records huko Marekani na One Music Group. Albamu yake ya tatu ya studio ya nje 2018 iliweka alama ya kwanza ya lebo yake. Mnamo mwaka 2019 alishinda sheria ya kimataifa ya bora kabisa kwenye tuzo za BET za 2019. Alitangazwa pia kama msanii wa Apple Music's Up Next.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
We're chatting about books this morning, and particularly reading culture coming back into the forefront as libraries are suddenly popular again and printed books are the in thing. We're speaking about the rise of bookish cool with published author Pindile Yende. Pindile, this feels a little bit like a full circle moment, doesn't it? Because if you look back when a lot of us were much, much younger, books were the only avenues to actually get the information that you needed through things like encyclopedias. So children needed to go to the library to do research, to find information, but also for entertainment, finding out interesting things outside of your own landscape. And of course, the rise of social media comes about. More and more people focus on their devices. We are as well still at the peak of the social media era, but also this peak has also sort of got us back into the reading culture through the aesthetics, but also the communication that we have to say, hey guys, maybe we should read a book again. So do you think this is a full circle moment for you?
Oh, absolutely, yes. I like the fact that we had to actually go into a library just to get information, but now information is so easily accessible. But what I love is that this generation is becoming very aware, right? And in being aware, they know that there's books out there that they have to read, that the information that they want will not be easily accessible on social media, or it will be half shared on social media.
Yeah.
As mentioned before, you can only do a 1-minute clip and all of that, but to get the real information and the full information, you actually have to delve deep into a book. So this awareness thing that is coming, it's very advantageous for the youth of today. With African literature, for instance, it's rising. People are becoming more interested in it because we want to now know our history. We want to know what is happening now. We want to make Africa better, and in order to make Africa better, we have to read these books. We have to know our own stories in order to be able to argue and tell our own stories. So that's why reading is becoming so big right now, and African literature, mostly it's in the books, right? So that's why we are now reading far more, including self-help books. We are going through so much right now. Every generation is just going through so much right now. And in order for you to actually find the healing that you need, if you can't afford a psychologist, go find a book. You will get that 1-minute clip on social media that tells you that this is how you find healing, this is how you get through certain things in life, but the full information will actually be in a book. When you read a book fully, you actually have received your entire psychotherapy just reading one book. So we are becoming aware that this is where we can actually get the information. This is where we can get the healing. This is where we can be able to move better and do better as the current generation in order to move our continent forward, and in also to know what Europe is doing, how we can actually position ourselves better in order to do better as a people. Completely.
Pindile, I want to speak a little bit more about reading for leisure, because the truth is now we have AI. In fact, I was driving with my son this morning and he realized that I didn't fully know how to use my radio because, the settings were all over the place. I'm like, I actually don't know how to use this thing. So I always just go to the radio station that I want to listen to. And he's like, well, let me ask ChatGPT. And he did. Well, ChatGPT, and he did. And then he fixed the entire thing for me on our drive. And it's like, if you want information, it really is like that. At a click of a finger, just, a quick type, and you know the information you need to. But more and more people are going back into leisurely reading, right? The fiction, the trying to just get something interesting, something amazing. But also it feels like, hobby culture has deeply influenced the culture of reading for leisure again.
No, that is true. I would not even say it's leisure per se, but I would say it's an escape, right? As I mentioned before, that with so much going on around us, that is somebody else will say, I escape by having a glass of wine,
Yeah.
I escape by going to a club. We're all different, and we find leisure in different things. And for some of us, leisure is actually reading. That is finding it's your time. It is your space. It is adding knowledge to yourself. It is opening your mind up to new things that you are learning.
Yeah.
You're becoming smarter. You're becoming a better communicator as well, just from that reading. I mean, reading even improves your focus. Reading makes you more intelligent. Reading makes you to be able to have conversations with people at the office, with people that you come across socially, and all of that. So that leisure, it adds a lot of value to you, and we are aware that that leisurely time actually so much more for you when you actually bask in it, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, I don't want to bedevil social media all the time, because I think there are aspects where social media actually complements a good reading culture. There's a lot of bookworm influences on many social media platforms. People like yourself are always sharing inspirational things on social media around books, but also around life lessons. So the two are kind of complementary and can be an expansion of each other.
Absolutely. Agreed. And I'll go back again to you saying you get a 1 minute clip on a book. I already know that, they spoke about this book. Let me go read and find out more. So they do complement each other in one way or the other, because a lot of us, we get that little information there. We then return to the book and read the entire book. So I can tell you, for instance, like most of the books that I have been reading in the past 6 months, it's because I got them on reference from a book club, whether it's the Oprah book club, whether it's book clubs that I follow, they're reading a certain book and then somebody speaks a little about that book, then I'll go back and actually go and purchase the book.
Well, let's speak a little bit more about the aesthetic before we wrap up, because that is, as we're speaking about social media, it's incredible because many people who might not have been avid readers or maybe readers at all might have been influenced or have been influenced by social media, seeing more and more people reading, seeing, cool people or the cool kids hanging out and having a book club session at a nice coffee shop, or, just enjoying it over a glass of wine. That also influences people to get into the culture. The aesthetic of walking into people's houses and seeing, a bookshelf nicely, neatly put up there, and it really brings in or adds into the space. And of course, if you're also trying to live up to that particular popular aesthetic, you're going to get some books to put up there. So let's chat about
just
the
don't
aesthetic
shelve
influence.
them and without reading them.
You'll read it. You'll read it eventually.
Listen, you know what? Books are definitely pretty. Bookshelves are intriguing. You wonder, like, oh my gosh, what knowledge does this person have? What's in these books? So I completely agree with you that the aesthetics actually say a lot. It says a lot about a person, and like I said, just a touch of a book. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm an avid reader. Just a touch of a book, just a saint of a book. It gives me a high already just thinking about it. So people obviously we follow. We also like following trends. All right.
Yes.
We see a cool person reading, and we're like, I want to be like that person. Let me read. Listen, education is now fashionable, and we get education from reading books. So we all want to be fashionable. And if now reading is, the more reading becomes fashionable, the more people will read. Even people that don't like reading will start reading, even if it's a short story or something like that, just to say that I have read this book. It's cool now to be talking about certain authors. And when people engage in that conversation and you don't know who that author is, you do feel left out, because that's where we are getting to as a generation. Whereas
Yes.
we are now making education fashionable, we are making reading fashionable. And what I love is that it's now filtering on to the youth. The youth is now starting to read, because before, people who used to hold books in libraries or in coffee shops, it will be your older generation. But now your young
Yes.
generation is now doing it. You walk into an exclusive bookstore, you find a kiddies corner where kids are now reading, and that's just beautiful to see. You know.
Absolutely. Well, we'll have to leave
Yeah.
it there. We run out of time, Pindile. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Give us your social media handles really quickly so we can follow you and see what you're up to.
Instagram, Pindile_Yende, TikTok, Pindile Yende, Twitter, Pindile Yende, Facebook, Pindile Yende, just as simple as that.
We love
Thank
the
you
energy.
so much.
Pindile, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you
published
so much.
author Pindile. And speaking about bookish cool, reading books is the new cool thing, and certainly a beautiful conversation to have. It's 9:31 Central Africa time. Let's get our latest sports news.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. I am Musibudi Makura with the latest sports news at this hour. So Bayern Munich is getting ready in Orlando to face off with Paris Saint-Germain in what promises to be a great European clash in the quarterfinals of the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup. So Bayern beat Flamengo 4-2 in the round of 16, while Paris Saint-Germain crushed Lionel Messi as well as Inter Miami by 4-0. This match will be played on Saturday in Atlanta. Before that match is set to take place, there are two matches taking place today in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup. Fluminense will face off with Al Hilal, while Palmeiras will face off with Chelsea. Both are, of course, all these matches in the build-up to the semi-finals of the FIFA Club World Cup. Onto this story now. Liverpool said Diego Jota's number 20 will be rightfully immortalised after news of the Portuguese winger's tragic passing spread amid shock and condolences from around the world. Following the news of Portugal as well as Liverpool FC winger Diego Jota's tragic passing in a car accident overnight on Thursday, the initial shock was followed by the increasing demands from the fans to retire his number 20 jersey amid mourning of his loss. So now Liverpool FC is saying that his number 20 will be rightly immortalised for the role he played at the club since his arrival in 2020. The diminutive Portuguese ace has died in a car crash on a Spanish A52 highway near Sanbria in the province of Zamora after a tyre of his Lamborghini SUV blew out while overtaking another vehicle. Jota's vehicle veered off the road and caught fire, according to authorities as well as media reports. The Portuguese international brother Andre Silva himself, a footballer who played for League Two Portugal side Penafiel, was with Jota in the Lamborghini and also died at the scene. On to some tennis news now. 7-time champion Novak Djokovic outclassed Dan Evans in what would be, or rather could be, the British veteran's final appearance at Wimbledon. Evans, now ranked 154th in the world and given a wild card to play at the All England club, lost 6-3, 6-2 and 6-love in their second round match last night. Now the Serbian great Djokovic produced a serving masterclass which even left Evans shaking his head in disbelief at several points. Now the 35-year-old home favourite, who was also willed on by the encouraging centre court crowd, won just 9 of the 58 receiving points in that match. Djokovic, seeded 6th at this year's tournament, also demonstrated why he's one of the best returners in the men's game by converting 6 of the 16 break points. It was an impressive display from the 24-time Grand Slam champion, who's aiming now to equal his rival Roger Federer's record, a tally of Wimbledon men's singles titles. Djokovic is also trying to finally land a standalone record 25th major title, having not claimed one of the sport's most prestigious prizes since the 2023 US Open tournament.
That was necessary. Obviously, I knew that. I was preparing well for the match. I think technically, tactically, I knew exactly what I needed to do, and I executed it perfectly. Sometimes you have these kind of days. But yeah, you have these kind of days where everything goes your way, everything flows, and it's good to be in the shoes and holding a racket on a day like this. No question about it.
Well,
Meanwhile, four-time French Open champion Iga Swiatek avoided joining Wimbledon's lengthy list of fallen seeds by battling back to beat the world number 208 KT McNally, the 24-year-old five-time major winner, having also claimed the 2022 US Open title, was in danger of seeing her comparatively woeful record at Wimbledon also buying out at 4-1 when she had held a 4-1 lead rather in the first set, and led her opponent back in that game to lose that first set 7-5, but responded impressively in centre court sunshine to prevail 5-7, 6-2 and 6-1 in just 2 hours and 25 minutes.
I started the match well, so I knew that my game is there. I lost it, for a second, and for sure Katie used that, did some errors that shouldn't have happened. So I knew, at the beginning of the second set that I got this, with me. I just need to use it and be more intense and be more accurate, with preparation before the shot. And I just tried to improve and kind of like on a practice, and I'm happy it worked.
And finally, American Ben Shelton was furious when play in her second round encounter with Riki Hichikata at Wimbledon was suspended because of bad light as he was about to serve for the match. After winning the first two sets 6-2, 7-5, the 10th seed Shelton was leading 5-4 in the third and potentially on course to wrap up his progress within a matter of minutes. That game was stopped at 9:30 a.m. Central African time, with play set to resume later on today. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The upside. Your afternoons just got even better.
Bantu Biko Street by Simpiwe Dana. Ndi ready. Simpiwe, 20 years in song. So what emotions come up when you hear that, hey, you've been doing this for 20 years now?
It almost feels like no time has passed, eh? I just, I know obviously time has passed, but I don't feel it. Even about my age, I'm 45. I always get shocked when I think, oh my God, in 5 years' time, I'll be 50. Because for me as an artist, it's almost like when it comes to certain things, time stands still. And as a result, you find that a lot of artists are very childlike, which, helps them to always have a fresh approach to issues.
I tell you what, I'm feeling healed just by that.
We take no sides, none whatsoever. We are the upside.
Hey, let's move on now and get our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin, and good morning. 3 people alleged to be part of a syndicate involved in printing and distributing counterfeit money will be back in South Africa's Pretoria Magistrate Court on Thursday next week. The accused, who are Cameroonian nationals, appeared in court yesterday. During their arrest in Elders Park in Pretoria on Tuesday, they were found in possession of machines used to print counterfeit South African rand and US dollar notes. The National Prosecuting Authority's Lumka Mahanjana says one of the accused tried to bribe police with 2,000 rand in exchange for their release.
Police were patrolling and found one of the accused persons in possession of the printing machine, who then took them to a guest house where the other 2 were busy operating a similar printing machine and printing counterfeit money. During their brief appearance in court, the matter was postponed to the 10th of July for bail investigations.
The International Monetary Fund says it will combine the 5th and 6th reviews of Egypt's $8 billion support program this fall to give authorities more time to meet critical objectives of its economic reform program. IMF spokeswoman Julie Kozak told a regular briefing that IMF staff are working with Egyptian authorities on finalizing key policy measures, particularly on the state's role in the economy. A decision to combine the reviews could delay a new disbursement of funds to Egypt by half a year. The world's biggest multilateral climate fund says it will make its largest ever series of investments and speed up deal making as it looks to help poorer nations respond to global warming. The Green Climate Funds plan to release about $1.2 billion for 17 projects, most in Asia and Africa, follows approval by shareholders, including the U.S., at a meeting this week against a fractious political backdrop that has seen development aid slashed. Official development assistance could fall 17% this year after a 9% drop in 2024, led by hefty cuts to U.S. aid by President Donald Trump. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the country will likely to still be subjected to the 10% tariff rate on all exports to US, but the government will continue to try and negotiate for an exemption. A 90-day pause in the U.S. tariffs are set to expire early next week, with President Donald Trump threatening to send letters to countries laying out the tariff rates they'll face on U.S. imports. When asked if Australia will stay on the 10% baseline tariff rate after July 9 during an event in Sydney, Albanese said he assumed that would be the case. Hyper-competition in China's electric vehicle sector is spilling over to its biggest market in Asia, Thailand, as smaller players struggle to compete with dominant BYD, putting ambitious local production plans at risk. Neta, among the earliest Chinese EV brands to enter Thailand in 2022, is an example of a struggling automaker finding it difficult to meet the requirements of a demanding government incentive program meant to boost Thai EV production. Let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 naira 529 and Botswana 13 pula 10. Kenya, the dollar is at 128 shilling 415. Zambia 24 kwacha 5. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 42. Russia 78 rubles 94. India 85 rupee 43. China 71 16. South Africa 17 rand 16 cents. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound, 84 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,339, platinum at $1,386 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil $68.71 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chanduko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Get the news, music, and lifestyle of Africa on Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Protests have erupted in parts of Kenya with police firing tear gas at protesters. The protests are in honor of those killed in huge anti-tax demonstrations a year ago. Alex Kiari.
We just received a communication from Kenya's communications regulator, the Communication Authority of Kenya, which has ordered for the end of all live broadcasts for the ongoing protests in the country, and they are citing this as saying that it's a security threat and contrary to Article 33, Section 1 of the Kenyan Constitution, which allows them that chance to do that.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the For culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story. A living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future.
It's Mona Lisa with Low J and SARS, taking us to 47 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. We're speaking about flexing by reading. I'll tell you that reading is a big flex in today's society. It's a huge, huge flex. I'll tell you because, you know, when you actually open a book, you are actually opening something that's going to be impactful for you. That's why if I can tell maybe like 2, 3, 4 pages into a book, you haven't really done much. The thing about reading is that it is going to require your mental patience. I was reading a book just recently, and the first few pages of that book were just like describing trees. Just so cumbersome, buddy. And I was looking up names of, it's a brilliant author, actually.
Yeah.
Toni Morrison.
Mhm.
And she's describing this town, this little town, and she's using the names of different trees. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are these?
You want to be able to imagine what these trees look
Yeah.
like so you can get the context
Yeah.
of what she's talking
Yeah,
about.
and so you have a dictionary. I always have a dictionary on the side.
Yeah.
And, so I'm paging through the dictionary and the book, and it's cumbersome at times. And at times you just want to put that book away because the experience in itself feels like you're doing more than you should because you just want to flow into the book,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that's not what reading is sometimes. At times, books are just about learning a lot from that experience. And so I was reading this book and I was a little bit bored by the task of having to figure out what this author was actually saying because there are good authors. And
Yeah.
the best authors are very hard to pick out what they're saying. So writing is different for different people, but some of the best writing is actually like a conundrum. And those are the writers that people get tired of, people who are actually crafting sentences, and some of these sentences are kind of like a labyrinth that you have to figure out. Yeah, it's like a little puzzle. What's actually going on in the sentence? And have you ever done that? Like stuck in one sentence, not quite sure what that sentence means?
Yes, and you have to like go through it over and over again, trying to sort of
figure out.
unpack and figure out what it actually means.
Because sometimes you're like, the crux of this book might be dependent on this one sentence. Well, if you are a reader, you probably think like that.
Yeah.
Because there's always cross references even in other chapters of something that you've probably read before. So that's the hard task of reading. And at times we think reading is easy, but it's actually tough. It's difficult to sit down and concentrate and follow through on, the passage of time that is being described on these pages.
What I like the most, though, about the fact that this is trendy now is that it's not just for the avid readers. So, yes, reading might be hard, but because people are now influenced to go into reading, even those who are starting out are being encouraged to just do a page, do 10 pages a day, do 5 pages a day. Just do what you can. And I love that because it doesn't exclude those who aren't avid readers and don't read like this or that or the other, or might not really even understand reading culture, but it encourages them to start anyway and do it in the way that is possible for them.
Yeah, reading's for everyone. That's one thing for sure. I actually think every book is for everyone. You just have to have the time for it and make time for it. What's your take on the resurgence of reading? +2763 406 9126. You can text us or voice note us there. Let's take a break. We'll be back.
Have you been struggling to find Channel Africa?
Oh yes, where can I find you guys?
Well, you are in luck.
Warning, radioactive zone detected.
Listen to the African perspective on our brand new SABC Plus app. Download the fresh and easy to use app from sabcplus.com or the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. Or just command your phone to find SABC Plus on your phone and check out all this good stuff. And that's where you will find Channel Africa, the African perspective. Oh yes, this is fresh and easy. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Let me send you my home address. Now your love can't heal my stress. To the end of time.
And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tami Ngubeni talks money. Africa in Business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa.
Feature that we do, which is a music Q&A between Palesa and I. Palesa won last month. Unfortunately, she won in a way that was a little bit dodgy.
It was not dodgy.
Yeah, because she could not even pronounce the names of some of the...
It was one question, by the way. The question I couldn't pronounce was one question. And you had already gotten the majority of the questions wrong.
Also I had like difficult questions, and Pali had like easy questions that I could have answered.
Fair and square. Don't be a sore loser,
when I was like seeing the differences in terms of like the questioning, I was like, no man, there's a bias.
Loser.
You know the thing about ladies, ladies are always on each other's side. So my producer is a lady, my co-presenter is a lady, and I feel like there's a group that's against me.
Yeah, you don't do quite well with losing, do you? Because that sounds very much like sore loser.
I am a sore loser at this one because I think the last Q&A was unfair. It was kind of directed to you to make it easier for you.
No, I disagree. Because I didn't know half of the things you were asking me. I guessed. And that's what we do a lot of the time when you don't know. We guess.
Good guessing. I could have guessed any of those
I am really a good guesser. You're not as good a guesser as I am.
No, I don't think so.
That's the only thing.
That's not true.
It is
We've
true.
been saying that
why didn't you guess well then?
No, we could have both
should have guessed the right answers.
We've been saying both good at guessing.
Yeah, so why didn't you guess the right answers? I guessed the right answers.
Those questions were terrible. So we are, what's the score right now? 1-1.
1-1.
In terms of months.
In terms of the months that we've won,
okay,
yes. So you've won 1 month, I've won a month.
Okay, so I think this month is going to be a determining month indeed. So yeah, we need a prize, of course, and our producer will get a sponsor for us for a prize on that one. Hopefully I'll get a new M3 car or something like that, just
I would love a Mercedes. Thank you, producer.
Love that kind of sponsorship. But that's coming up. Today the theme is, African hip hop. So yeah, I think I'm going to be on the back burner again because I don't know much on this kind of genre. For me, it's like a genre that I don't know at all.
Well, you've already chosen to be on the back burner. I'll choose to win, so thank you.
All right, let's see if confession is going to be materialized. Maybe I'll come second again today, but we'll find out a little bit later on that one. But what's coming up on the show, we're going to be looking at an interesting thing. We're going to be looking at the film industries. Are the streaming platforms good for us as film makers in Africa? Are films actually getting the best out of the experience of streaming platforms? We're going to be chatting more about that because the narratives are interesting because it's very fixed, very interesting narratives that are on streaming platforms, especially about African stories. So yeah, we'll find out if it's a good thing and a bad thing. I think it can be a bad thing, but I also think it can be a good thing because if you don't create the space to actually have a platform for African filmmakers, someone is going to come from outside and make it happen for us. So that's what's going to be the conversation coming up a little bit later on. Are we harvesting enough potential from the continent with these streaming platforms? And the stories that are being told and broadcast on these global streaming platforms telling the story we want to tell as Africans. I think we've had that conversation before some time back, and we had a filmmaker from Kenya, remember, was saying that they're creating their own platform, and that platform is going to actually try to get the stories that maybe a Netflix wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So we'll chat a little bit about that later. It's 10 o'clock Central African time. Let's get the latest news.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, Guinea launches controversial draft constitution and Russia missile attacks on Ukraine. Your latest news, greetings to our listeners. Guinea's political landscape is once again stirring debate following the unveiling of a controversial draft constitution. The new text proposes a single 7-year presidential term renewable once, notably opening the door for military leader Mamadi Doumbouya to run in the upcoming elections, despite earlier commitments to a civilian-led transition. Critics warn this move risks entrenching military rule and undermining democratic progress, not only in Guinea but across West Africa. Political scientist Dr. Douglas Yates explains.
I don't believe he ever had any interest in handing over power, either to a military government, to a coup within a coup, to a counter coup, or to an elected opponent. He has taken power by force, and he will keep it by force if he has to. But I think he looks at the model of Gabon. The most successful of all these coups in West Africa has been Gabon, where Brice Oligui Nguema created a new constitution which allowed him to run as president, created 2 terms, 7-year terms, remarkable parallels, and then he ran an election, and then he won in it, and now he's the elected president of Gabon. I think that's the intention.
South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile will today visit the family of his late predecessor, David Mabuza, in Bryanston, Johannesburg. Mabuza died yesterday at the age of 64. He served as Deputy President from 2018 to 2023 under President Cyril Ramaphosa. Mabuza also served as Mpumalanga Premier from 2009 to 2018. He resigned as Member of Parliament in 2023. This paved the way for Ramaphosa to appoint Mashatile to succeed Mabuza. The police guarding the homestead of the South African late former Deputy President David Mabuza have meanwhile chased away journalists from getting closer to the premises in Barberton in the Mpumalanga province. There is no movement of people at the farm since the news broke out that Mabuza has passed away. Mabuza died yesterday at the age of 64 in Johannesburg. Today, Rwanda marks 30 years since the end of a genocide. On this day, in 1994, the Rwandan Patriotic Front secured the capital of Kigali and ended the 100 days of genocide against the Tutsi nation. Rwanda knows this day as Kwibo Hora. Rwandan advocate Gatete Ruhumuluzi Nyirungabo explains.
This day means hope because it's a reminiscence of 30 years of Kibohora, because liberation is not only on the 4th of July. Liberation starts on the 1st of October when the IPF takes up arms to end discrimination and exile of part of the Rwandan community in exile, when the IPF puts an end to the genocide against the Tutsi. Because on the 4th of July 1994, it wasn't a day of celebration. It was rather a bittersweet day. But throughout the years, the day that is difficult to handle is the 7th of April when the genocide starts. But the 4th of July is more met with happiness. And
Russia has launched a large-scale drone and missile attack in Kyiv. The Ukrainian authorities say almost every district on the capital has sustained damage in the overnight bombardment. The attacks come hours after U.S. President Donald Trump told reporters he had spoken to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, by phone.
We had a call. It was a pretty long call. We talked about a lot of things, including Iran. And we also talked about, as you know, the war with Ukraine. And I'm not happy about that. I didn't make any progress with him today at all.
Recapping on your top stories, Guinea's political landscape is once again stirring debate following the unveiling of a controversial draft constitution. The new text proposes a single 7-year presidential term, renewable once, notably opening the door for military leader Mamadi Doumbouya to run in the upcoming elections. Now, for any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us at +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News, I am Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
It's the second hour. This is On the Move this Friday morning. Happy Friday to you and yours, and I hope that you're having a fantastic morning so far. And of course, it's been a great work week for you as well. Do join us. Let everybody know. Let your friends, your family, your colleagues know that you're tuned into Channel Africa, and they should do the same on channelafrica.co.za, on our audio bouquets at DSTV channel 802 and OpenView HD channel 628, and of course on the SABC Plus app as well. Friday is beautiful because it's all about the creative economy, the creative industry, and we have a bit of fun with some music as well. You know, one thing for sure, just a few weeks ago, we had a conversation about how many of us are spending a lot of our money on streaming platforms, and they're actually taking more money than we think. 100 here, 200 there, 80 or 90 rands, or whatever currency you're using here and there. It might seem like small amounts, but they actually rank up, and that was for our Money Matters feature. But yes, we are streaming quite a lot. In fact, not a lot of us are on the normal platforms that we used to watch TV in anymore, and those are also really being highly impacted by streaming platforms. So yes, we love to watch movies, we like to watch series, and it is quite global. It has global appeal. However, now that this has become popular on the African continent, and streaming platforms like Netflix and the like have come into Africa to put up the stories of Africans, the assistant professor of communications at Cornell University in Manchester, Fatimata Mohammed, really does say that actually we might have a problem here, because even though this is encouraging African filmmaking, it seems like we're not being authentic to who we are as African to appeal to the West simply to be on those platforms. What does that mean? What does authenticity mean when you're also trying to be a part of the global filmmaking market? We're going to be unpacking some of his research going into this in this hour of the show, when he says, yeah, these streaming platforms are giving African films a platform, but the cultural price is very high to pay. We're going to go into that conversation in this hour of the show. I think it's quite an intriguing one, and I really want to understand what it means to be authentic in our own filmmaking experiences as well. And then we're going to be moving on into our final hour. That's usually our music hour. We speak to either an infamous, a newcomer, or a famous African musician. And today we have quite a famous South African rapper who goes by the name of K.O., who'll be chatting to us about his music, his lifestyle, and also the trends that he's brought into the music scene and the cultural scene altogether. So it's going to be quite interesting. The Friday is just starting, so stay with us here on Channel Africa.
Yeah, and we're about to get the contentious Q&A that we have. That's our when me and Bali battle it out in any music genre. We are on equal terms in terms of the months, and I still think that we need a rerun of last month's final Q&A, and I think I was robbed big time there. Hope today I'm the one who gets the easy questions from Bali, and she gets the difficult ones. We'll see, but I think our producer probably is giving you the easy ones.
It sounds like you're scared there, Benji.
I'm
Just say you're scared.
I'm not
It's
scared.
okay. It sounds you're giving me scared talk right now. There's no confidence.
No,
You're just
no.
like, I want easy questions so I can win. What if you just win because you know the answers?
I know I'm battling two people right now. It's 2 versus 1. It's Palesa and Selena who are battling me on this one.
That is not true. That is not true. Just say you know you're going to lose because I'm so good, and you're looking for an excuse.
You be the judge of the questions. Listen a little bit later on, and maybe you can judge whether I'm getting the fair questions during our battle. So yeah, man, that's what's coming up on the show today. Remember, you can stay in touch with us. Coming to our streaming, we always love having you there. Remember, we are streaming on different platforms. We are on Facebook, where we are streaming live there. We're also on YouTube, where we are streaming live. So you can see the action in our studios there.
Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week.
Africa, voici Abedi.
Oui, c'est moi.
Abedi est un passionné de musique dans l'âme. Il a un goût pour toutes sortes de musique et passe ses journées à écouter Channel Africa.
J'aime beaucoup la musique africaine.
Ok. Devinez quoi? Channel Africa veut aider Abedi et les mélomanes du monde entier à découvrir encore plus de musique incroyable. C'est pourquoi Channel Africa appelle les artistes africains à soumettre leur musique. Chers artistes, n'oubliez pas de nous fournir toutes vos informations pertinentes à l'email adresse musique@channelafrica.co.za. Les soumissions sont votre chance d'être entendues, mais elles ne garantissent pas une playlist. Toutes les soumissions seront soigneusement examinées pour voir si elles répondent aux exigences de notre station. Channel Africa, la perspective africaine.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa.
Jam. This is C4 Pedro and Zara Williams with Bossa. That's a beautiful jam for the Friday right here. Well, we are going to be speaking about, speaking about streaming platforms, US streaming platforms coming onto the African continent, and maybe having our own filmmakers adjust our own cultures, adjust the way that we do things, simply to fit into the Western narrative in filmmaking. Unfortunately, we can't get hold of the guest right now. This brings in the perfect opportunity to go ahead and make Benjamin's nightmares come true with our music quiz, our Friday music quiz.
It's nightmarish. Yeah. I'll tell you, when someone can't pronounce the question
so
or the options.
It is time for Benjamin Benjamin to lose once again. I mean, he's already put it out in the universe and said, oh, everything is so unfair. I always lose. I'm not going to get it right again. I'm going to get the hard questions. So let's see what happens in today's music quiz. And today's theme is African hip hop. So I'm going to go first and see how Benjamin does. So let's go. Who is the famous Nigerian rapper behind the song Oleku? Is it Ice Prince? Is it Wizkid? Is it Bird Boy or Davido?
Who is the what?
Who is the famous Nigerian rapper behind the song Oleku?
Don't know, actually, but I'll go with Wizkid.
It is not.
Burna Boy.
It is Ice Prince.
Okay, I don't know Ice Prince.
All right. Which country is rapper K-Nan from? Is it Nigeria, Somalia, Ghana, or Kenya? K-Nan. Not K9. K-Nan.
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 How do you spell it?
K''N''A''N. In.
K-Nan.
Yes.
K-Nan.
Please stop playing the buzzer. We were not done yet. He hasn't answered the question yet.
Yeah, I'm also confused. No,
he hasn't answered the question yet.
No.
Which country is rapper K-Nan? He's still trying to figure out
Okay,
the...
K-Nan. Okay,
yes.
what are the options?
Nigeria, Somalia, Ghana, or Kenya?
I think K-Nan is probably from... I'll go with... It's either Kenya or Somalia. K-Nan. I remember he did a World Cup thing.
Yes. That is the guy, the World Cup guy.
Yeah. I'll go with Somalia.
Somalia is correct. Okay. What is the stage name for South African rapper? What's the stage name for South African rapper Ntsikaye Sizwe David Jr. Ngobo?
Who the heck
Is it AKA? Is it Nasty C? Is it Casper Nyovest or Questa? Ntsikaye Sizwe David Jr. Ngobo.
I don't know.
Is that AKA, Nasty C, Casper Nyovest or Questa?
Questa. I don't know. It's not it's Questa. I'm not sure. Can't be Questa, man. What's the short version of
Ntsikaye Sizwe David Jr. Ngobo.
Really? Wow. So many names.
AKA, Nasty C, Casper Nyovest or Questa?
I think I'll go with Questa.
That is incorrect. It's Nasty C. Yeah. Which country is known for the hip-hop group P Squared? Is it Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, or Kenya?
P Squared. That's an interesting one because the easy one is to go to Nigeria.
You've heard of P Squared?
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
P Squared. Is Kenya there?
No. Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya is there. Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya.
So it can't be Kenya, the answer, because you said no.
So who's P Squared? Which country, Benji?
I'm not sure. I'll just go with Kenya.
That is incorrect. It's Nigeria. You had it right in the first place. Like, yeah, Nigeria is the obvious answer. It is the obvious answer because they are from Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Which Kenyan rapper is known for the hit song Ligi So? Yeah, this one is tough. Is it Calligraph Jones? Is it Octopizo? Is it Sauti Sol or Nyashinski?
See, it's happening again.
Yeah, that's final. I don't know any of these people. Again. I only know Sauti Sol in these people. So, Kenyan rapper known for the hit song Ligi So. Calligraph Jones, Octopizo, Sauti Sol, or Nyashinski?
I don't know. I give up.
No, pick one.
Sauti Sol. I'll just go for anything.
No, Sauti Sol is Nigerian. They said Kenyan rapper. The answer is Octopizo. So you got one out of 5.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Look at these questions. You're going to get all of them right. Let me just log in.
I think these questions weren't too bad, actually, Benji.
They were terrible.
The last one was the worst one, but I don't think they were that bad, actually.
Okay, listen to when you get yours. When I give you your questions.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay. What South African? Just the first one. What South African hip hop capital? What South African city is the hip hop capital of the country?
Okay.
South Africa. Is it Pretoria? Mm-hmm. Is it Durban? Is it Johannesburg? Is it Cape Town?
Hip hop capital. So it has to be between Cape Town or Johannesburg. I'll say Joburg.
Yeah. See how simple that is. All right. What rapper from Ghana is known as the African Rap King? Is it Sarkodie, A? Is it M.I., B? Is it Wizkid, or is it Stone Boy?
Ooh, Ghana. Who's from Ghana? They say, please give me.
Sarkodie,
Yeah.
M.I., Wizkid, Stone Boy.
Who's from Ghana there? I'll say Stone Boy.
No, it's not.
Sarkodie. And I thought of saying Sarkodie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Which Nigerian artist is famous for his Afro-pop sound mixed with hip-hop? A. Olamide. B. Is it Burna Boy? C. Is it Tiwa Savage? D. Is it Ice Prince?
Ooh, Ice Prince?
No, it's Olamide.
Oh, okay.
Okay. See how now listen to the next question. Okay? Listen to this question and how easy it is. Okay. Which song made Canaan, which we were speaking about, Canaan, internationally famous, right? Okay, I even know this.
Is it the World Cup song?
Yes.
Wait, give me the options.
Yeah. A, Waving Flag.
Yeah.
B, Chancel.
Obviously,
C,
Waving Flag.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, which South African rapper is known for his beef with AKA?
Casper Nyovest.
Yeah. There we go. My point made for the day. Let's go for a break.
Call us on +27 63 406 9126 and contribute to the conversation. Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mokoenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Alright, into me, to me, Black Jersey on the beat. Baby, me tired for this show matter.
Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu. Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6.
With one titled Tajiri, that is Lava Lava. And there, before we get a double play with Tiwa Savage, starting it with one titled Attention. Well, we're 1-0 now with our hip-hop theme quiz today. Bali won, and congratulations, Bali. You won the first one. And we'll see where we take this one. I still have questions around the questions themselves. I think we can balance them a little bit more. I'm very bitter on this one, Bali.
Yeah, we know, Benji. We know, honey. We know you're bitter. And you're going to be okay.
I'm joking, man. It's just a game. That's all it is. But we'll see if we can move things forward. Remember, coming up, we're going to be speaking around something around... KO, actually, he's one of the biggest hip-hop acts on the continent. I don't think he's just a South African act anymore. I think he's been exported beyond our continent. He's had a couple of hits. What's your favorite, Bali?
It's actually an old school one.
Yeah.
Gangsta Love was
Gangsta
great.
Love was awesome.
I love that. But
Yeah.
more than anything, I love that he created a culture of his own that really allowed him to come in and out and dip in and out of the industry as he pleases,
Yeah.
because he's created a culture, not just music.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
you used to be part of a group, right? What was that
Yes,
group? They were good. They were
yes.
brilliant.
I forgot their name, but he used to be, and also, I mean, yeah. What's the name of the group? Tear gas.
Yes, we've been told it's tear gas. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to this. Just finding out also about this Kanda movement, which is the sort of subculture that he's created and that he's been able to sort of use as a platform, not just as for himself, but also many other artists.
He's such a cool artist indeed, and definitely he's created his own identity and his own kind of subgenre even within the hip-hop space. But it's 10:30 Central African time. Let's get the latest sports update from Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
And a very good morning from the sports desk. Now, Bayern Munich winger Serge Gnabry says they are relishing the challenge to face one of the most informed teams right now when they take on European champions Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, the French League One outfit dismantled Inter Miami 4-0 to progress to the last 8, while Bayern also scored the same number of goals in their 4-2 victory against Flamengo earlier on this week. Gnabry complimented the team led by Luis Enrique, but also believes that they can match them with quality in Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday.
Honestly, it will be a difficult match. Paris has an incredible run. They won the Champions League, so they will have a lot of confidence. But we don't back down. I think we are a very great team. We've played good so far in this tournament, so I think it will be for everyone a very exciting match.
Now, PSG will also have the odds on their side coming into this match, and this Gnabry acknowledges the former Arsenal player is now confident if they follow in Vincent Kompany's instructions, they can get something out of this game.
We just play our game. I think they know also what's coming their way. It's not going to be easy, but if we just manage to play like we used to play, I think they will also have it difficult. For sure, I would say the favourites because they won the Champions League, but it's a new match, a new opportunity, so we will be ready.
On to this story now. Liverpool said that Diogo Jota's number 20 jersey will rightfully be immortalised after news that the Portuguese winger's tragic passing spread amid the shock as well as condolences from around the world. Now, following the news of Portugal as well as Liverpool FC winger Diogo Jota's tragic passing in a car accident overnight on Thursday, the initial shock was followed by increasing demands from the fans to retire his number 20 jersey amid mourning over his loss. Now, Liverpool FC is saying that the number 20 jersey will rightfully be immortalised for the role that he played at the club since his arrival back in 2020. The Portuguese ace died in a car crash on the Spanish A52 highway near Sanibrai in the province of Zamora after a tyre on his Lamborghini SUV blew out while overtaking another vehicle. Jota's vehicle veered off the road and caught fire, according to authorities as well as media reports. The Portuguese international's brother, Andre Silva, 25 years of age, himself also a footballer who plays for Liga Portugal 2 side Penafel, was with Jota in the Lamborghini and also died on the scene. In tennis news now, Andy Murray's match-worn shirt from his historic 2013 Wimbledon triumph could soon adorn the wall of a lucky fan's home for the right price after it was put up for auction along with other pieces of sporting memorabilia from this year's, or rather from tournaments from the Wimbledon competition. Now, Murray claimed 2 of the 3 Grand Slam titles at Wimbledon, as well as ending Britain's 77-year wait for the men's singles champion on the grass court Grand Slam in 2013 when he defeated Novak Djokovic in straight sets in that final. Now, one of the 3 Adidas shirts the Scot wore in that match is up for grabs in an online sale held by Graham Budd Auctions in partnership with Golden Age of Tennis, with the auction set to conclude on the 13th of July. And finally, in cricket news, the South African men's cricket team will be in action tomorrow in the second test against Zimbabwe at the Sports Club in Bulawayo. You know that Zimbabwe, of course, having lost the first test match by 328 runs. So the South African side will be hoping now to get a series whitewash over the Zimbabweans when the first day gets underway tomorrow on Saturday at the Sports Club out in Bulawayo. South Africa currently holding a 1-0 series going into the second test match. They'll be without their stand-in captain in Keshav Maharaj, who injured his hamstring. What that now means is that Vian Mulder, the all-rounder, will be the captain of the side in the second and final test match to be played in Bulawayo tomorrow. Action getting underway at 10:30 a.m. Central African time. That's a wrap from the sports desk at the SAWA. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. Africa in Song with Chanduko Ligege.
This song has a line that I love so much in the isiXhosa language. It says, Andinayo nesentem daga. So I went down to the Eastern Cape. So I went to Yanga and said, Yanga, tell me here, what does Andinayo nesentem daga mean?
If I say Andinayo nesentem daga, it means that I do not have any money on me. I do not have money to give to you.
Interesting, because in Chivenda, I would just say, Atinana peni, ndo charumwe. I wonder if you have that expression in your home language when you want to say you're broke, but in a very creative way. What do you say? I'd like to hear from you.
Africa in Song with Chanduko Ligege.
All right, let's quickly move on and find out what's happening in business.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin and Palesa. Good morning. 3 people alleged to be part of a syndicate involving in printing and distributing counterfeit money will be back in South Africa's Pretoria Magistrate Court on Thursday next week. The accused, who are Cameroonian nationals, appeared in court yesterday during their arrest in Elardus Park in Pretoria on Tuesday. They were found in possession of machines used to print counterfeit South African rand and US dollar notes. The National Prosecuting Authority's Lumka Mahanjana says one of the accused tried to bribe the police with 2,000 rands in exchange for their release.
Police were patrolling and found one of the accused persons in possession of the printing machine, who then took them to a guest house where the other 2 were busy operating a similar printing machine and printing counterfeit money. During their brief appearance in court, the matter was postponed to the 10th of July for bail investigations.
The National Consumer Commission of South Africa, NCC, says it has noted with concern that a number of independently owned supermarkets are still not adhering to the Consumer Protection Act, CPA. This after the Commission conducted a series of inspections in rural and peri-urban areas and uncovered serious violations that threaten consumer safety and market integrity. The violations include selling expired food and failing to label products correctly. Prudence Muilwa is the NCC's head of complaints and investigations.
It does look like the management of the supermarkets are not necessarily clearing the stock in order to ensure that things that have expired, things that are not good for consumption, are kept off the shop floors. And this may result in what we have seen in the past, wherein consumers suffer foodborne illnesses and also are exposed to the kind of food that is not fit for human consumption.
South African Tourism Deputy Minister Magiso Q has encouraged young people to take advantage of the opportunities that South Africa's G20 presidency has created. She delivered the keynote address in Kimberley at the G20 engagement that the Sol Plaatje University hosted yesterday.
We don't want to train the tourism operators just for us being the host of G20 as a country, but we want them even to be there after the hosting of G20, because we took time to train them. We want then to deploy them in different tourist destinations, where then we know that they will assist then our domestic and also international guests when they arrive in the province in a way of giving information.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the country will likely still be subjected to the 10% tariff rate on oil exports to the US, but the government will continue to try and negotiate for an exemption. A 90-day pause in the U.S. reciprocal tariffs are set to expire early next week, with President Donald Trump threatening to send letters to countries laying out the tariff rates they will face on U.S. imports. When asked if Australia will stay on the 10% baseline tariff rate after the 9th of July during an event in Sydney, Albanese said he assumed that would be the case. Hyper-competition in China's electric vehicle sector is spilling over to its biggest market in Asia, Thailand, as smaller players struggle to compete with dominant BYD, putting ambitious local production plans at risk. Neta, among the earliest Chinese EV brands to enter Thailand in 2022, is an example of a struggling automaker finding it difficult to meet the requirements of a demanding government incentive program meant to boost Thai EV production. Let's shift our focus to financial indicators. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 Naira 529, Botswana 13 Pula 10. Kenya the dollar is at 128 shilling 415, Zambia 24 kwacha 5. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 42, Russia 78 rubles 94, India 85 rupee 43, China 71 16, South Africa 17 rand 16. $1 is 73 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,339, platinum at $1,386 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil at $68.71 a barrel. That is all for now. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet.
Channel 802.
Africa at Play with NATO and ETO Chairman.
The Confederation of African Athletics, CAA President Mr. Hamad Kalkaba Malboum, talk to us about the state of athletics in Africa as it stands, and what picture are you looking at 5 years later?
Yeah, athletics in Africa is strong. We are able to organize our major events in time. Like this year, we will have the under-20 and under-18 African Championship in Nigeria. Next year, we will have the senior in Ghana. And 2027, we will go back to Algeria to organize the under-18 and under-20. And then 2028, we will have the senior championship in Gaborone in Botswana. Well, by this program, we can increase our performance. And at the same time, we are considering the fact that within the Business Federation, they are identifying young talent every year within their national program, within the scholarship championship. And so the athletics in Africa is in good standard.
Live every Saturday and Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Central African Time.
No fairy tales, just the facts and the music you love on Channel Africa.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Don't know if I still got time to stay longer past midnight.
We put on on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin. Is Channel Africa. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move. Digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia, 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The The Upside, 1 till 4. Live and real with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia.
Feels with Stand By You, and before that you heard Major Lazer with the Major League DJs with Ishai featuring Tyler, Luda, DJ and Yums. That one takes us to 10:50 Central African time. Let's take a break.
This Mandela Month, we honor his belief that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world.
Education is one of the most important weapons in a country.
Catch us on DSTV Bouquet 802. Big news from Channel Africa. Now you can listen and watch your favorite shows on Channel Africa. Channel Africa is streaming live on the internet on all our social media pages at Channel Africa 1 from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. Central African Time. Download the SABC Plus app or visit our website www.channelafrica.co.za and stream us live on all our social media pages at Channel Africa 1. Channel Africa now streaming for your eyes and ears only. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Africa Tonight. Africa, let's talk.
Lawi is our special guest to talk about his passion for his country of Malawi and its people and the brand new single. We're going to flip the script.
So we are going to make you the radio host.
And we're going to give you two questions to ask us this evening.
Well, that's a good one. Well, have you heard any Lawi music?
Yes, we have. In fact, we were listening to Timalira.
What's your favorite song in the album where Timalira is? There's 3 albums so far. There was Lawi, the first album that came in 2013, and then Sunset in the Sky in 2017, and 30s in 2021. Which one of the songs in Sunset in the Sky is your favorite?
Alrighty, I'm going to go first. I'm going to say that my favorite song has to be Fessa.
When it is all said and done, Africa, let's talk. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
What them I say?
Until 10, we take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tebogo Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Maria Mokumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get
summer songs, and this one is keeping us warm in this wintry Joburg season. That is Every Day by Fireboy DML. Looking forward to the conversation with KO, and we're going to be speaking to him in the next hour. You know, the thing about hip-hop in Africa, you've all probably think like it's always been the way it is. It's always had like an African aesthetic. No, actually it didn't. Like when you reflect back in the times in the early 90s, people were rapping in mainly English. People were really kind of duplicating the American version of what hip hop is.
And not just in English, they used to also duplicate the accent too.
Yeah. So they said, you're my
Remember,
man.
yes.
And it was
That's so
always
funny.
like very like normal for that to happen.
Yeah.
But there were more kind of questions in the Kwaito era when it came in of what is hip hop, because then you started hearing rap within the context of like house music, slowed down beat, and you're like, maybe this is kind of an interesting way in to actually a more authentic way of expressing ourselves in a hip-hop manner. And I think Kwaito did a lot for hip-hop. I know sometimes people kind of say there was a period like hip-hop against Kwaito.
Yeah.
But not really. I think Kwaito did a lot for hip-hop.
I think so too. And actually, Kwaito made it comfortable for hip-hop to be more African. It made it comfortable to rap in our own languages to use the context of our environments and all of that. Kwaito made it comfortable for us to be African in hip-hop.
Yeah, so at that point, I know we were listening to like very kind of underground, very US focused rappers, but then you kind of got the likes of Zola. Zola did a lot for rap because he was a rapper big time, and what he was doing was kind of like he was dressed like a rapper. He looked like a South African version of like Tupac, really.
And in fact, it feels like he was a great bridge between the Kwaito era and hip hop, because he was like thuggish, like a Kwaito star, right? Like just raw in the way that he does, and then very in context when it comes to where he was from, which is, you know, the townships of Soweto, very in context, but also cool like a hip hop artist within that African or township context.
Yeah, I mean there were other guys, but I think Zola was like a pop star. You know, he brought it into where it is right now, where it's kind of like it's not just. It wasn't seen like he was rapping. It's almost like he was singing, but you never called him a rapper. You kind of ran away from calling him a rapper. And, you know, rappers used to diss Zola, but like you felt like the aesthetic was definitely hip hop. And I'm looking forward to finding out from KO how that transition for them has actually happened. But they were like right there in the midst of taking that kind of cultural, nuanced English vernacular type of hip hop into a different category of a different generation. So it was an interesting period, and I think we're still in it.
Yeah, and Tear Gas actually, I think, began a whole new era for the world of hip hop. And you're right, you know, speaking about the transition between, you know, Kwaito hip hop, the Zola era, then we went on to like make it a little bit more funky to start, you know, rapping and doing hip hop in your own language. But what Tear Gas did, and, you know, the incoming of the likes of KO.
And then we spoke Libo Mulefi the last time, remember?
Yes, the Tuk Singanga and the Momulefi, Double HPs and the likes. And what the likes of KO and Tear Gas did was actually bring in like a cool culture, but still keep it, you know, township in a way. So this cool kid culture was something that I think brought a big transition into the world of music and hip hop through the likes of KO and Tear Gas.
Yeah, it's almost like taking what Zola did into like a private school scenario.
Yes, like private school hip hop, cool kid culture, but still make it, you know, street, still make it township, still make it ghetto.
Yeah. Did you listen to that era of music?
I did.
Well, Were you the girl in the video?
No, I was not. I was too young to be the
But
girl
the girl
in the video.
videos were very cool back then.
I was too young to
remember-
be the girls in the
Yeah.
videos. But I remember in varsity, I had a friend of mine who was in a video, and we used to love watching that video. We watched it.
What
We
video
watched
was
it on
it?
repeat. I don't remember. I need to text her and ask her. Remind me, because it was also a hip hop video, and she looked. She was dressed like a skater girl, and she was like, she didn't have a big role, but like we were excited.
Yeah. I remember those days. Very interesting times. But where it is right now, it's definitely being exported outside of the South African context. And with some of the latest music that KO has done, he's definitely elevated the aesthetic of it, but also definitely a heightened where the moment of hip hop is on the African continent. What's your take of how, hip hop has evolved when you think about the Fireboy DMLs, when you think about the Burna Boys, as we always make reference to Burna Boy as this hype moment of Afrobeat? What's your take of how the music has transitioned from taking something that's Western and making it our own? Give us your thoughts there. +27634699126. You can text us or voice note us there. Or if you have questions for our guest KO, let us know what you want us to ask him. We're moving into our final hour of the show. To start us off is Onel Nzinzi with the latest news.
SABC News. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin. Looking at your top stories, first national elections in over 5 decades in Somalia, and Britain's left-wing MP Zara Sultana quits governing Labour Party. Your latest news. Greetings to our listeners. Somalia is set to give its first national elections in over 5 decades next year, as the country rebuilds following years of being ravaged by a war that crippled its economy and saw many Somali nationals fleeing their country as refugees. The country celebrated 65 years of independence on the 1st of July and hosted a grand opening of its embassy in Pretoria, South Africa. Somalia's Foreign Affairs Minister Abdisalam Abdi Ali explains.
Despite the persistent challenges posed by Al-Shabaab, the Somali government has made significant strides restoring stability, strengthening security, institution, and fostering national unity. Also, I want to add, after 54 years, Somalia is going elections next year. Elections which is going to be start with local authority, to the members of the parliament, to the national elections. So it's going to be a big journey, and we hope to succeed.
South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile has arrived at the family of his late predecessor, David Mabuza, in Bryanston, Johannesburg. Mabuza died yesterday at the age of 64. He served as Deputy President from 2018 to 2023 under President Cyril Ramaphosa. Mabuza also served as Mpumalanga Premier from 2009 to 2018. He resigned as a Member of Parliament in 2023. This paved the way for Ramaphosa to appoint Mashatile to succeed Mabuza. Senior lecturer at Wits University in South Africa, Dr. Khanetso Sikome, says hypertension is found to be the biggest cause of stroke. Sikome was speaking during the first day of the Stroke Rehabilitation Research Conference in Johannesburg. According to the Global Burden of Disease study, stroke has emerged as a critical global health challenge, affecting 12.2 million new stroke patients worldwide. Dr. Sikome advises what people can do to avoid this stroke encounter.
Hypertension, which is, like I said, the biggest cause of stroke, is a silent killer. No one knows that they've got hypertension until they get sick and they get into contact with the healthcare worker. So we need to increase the awareness of hypertension. People need to screen. Do not wait for you to be sick to be checked what your BP is. Every 3 months, get your BP checked. Even if it's twice a year, just know your BP value, and that is how we can act fast.
Today marks 30 years since the end of genocide in Rwanda. On this day, in 1994, the Rwandan Patriotic Front secured the capital of Kigali and ended 100 days of genocide against the Tutsi nation. Rwandans know this day as Kwibohora. Rwandan advocate Gatete Ruhumuliza Nyiringabo explains.
This day means hope because it's reminiscent of 30 years of Kibohora, because liberation is not only on the 4th of July. Liberation starts on the 1st of October when the IPF takes up arms to end discrimination and exile of part of the Rwandan community in exile, when the IPF puts an end to the genocide against the Tutsi. Because on the 4th of July 1994, it wasn't a day of celebration. It was rather a bittersweet day. But throughout the years, the day that is difficult to handle is the 7th of April when the genocide starts. But the 4th of July is more met with happiness and
lastly, Britain's left-wing MP Zara Sultana has quit the governing Labour Party to co-lead a new party together with the former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn. She accuses Keir Starmer's government of failing to improve people's lives and being what she called an active participant in genocide in Gaza. The BBC's Leila Nathu.
Zara Sultana has been a long-standing critic of Keir Starmer's project. She was very quickly suspended from the parliamentary party last summer, just after the election, for voting against the government. So she hasn't been sitting as a Labour MP in Parliament, but she says she's leaving. Intriguingly, Jeremy Corbyn hasn't commented on this, but last night hinted that there was going to be a sort of grouping together of independent MPs who had been elected at the last general election, but didn't give any indication that it was imminent.
Recapping on your top story, Somalia is set to have its first national elections in over 5 decades next year. This as the country rebuilds following years of being ravaged by a war that crippled its economy and saw many Somali nationals fleeing their country as refugees. For any news stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us +27 11 714 4459. Channel Africa News. I am Onele Ntsinzi.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Hey, we're moving into our third hour of the show. Remember, you are listening to us on DSTV Channel 802, OpenView 628, and on www.channelafrica.co.za. And don't forget that we're also on our live feeds. Our Facebook page is Channel Africa. Our YouTube handles at Channel Africa 1. Also, you can find that live stream as well on our Instagram at Channel Africa 1, also being the handle there for our Channel Africa pages. Well, we're going to be speaking to KO, Mr. Cash Time, and speak a little bit about his renewal in terms of how he was able to navigate the hip-hop environment, but also pursue a life of entrepreneurship, but most importantly, how he's also able to actually find himself in different seasons of the music industry. If there's one musician who can just go on a hiatus and just like disappear and come back with a hit, it's definitely KO. He doesn't always feel like he has to be in our faces for us to be reminded of him. He's able to kind of be a shape shifter and find his place even despite the changing environment of the hip-hop genre in South Africa and also on the African continent. So we're looking forward to speaking to the hitmaker just in a few minutes time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a beautiful Friday because we wrap up with some music this Friday, as we usually do every Friday here on Channel Africa. But you know what? It's going to be great because KO definitely has transitioned from different eras of the music industry. And you know what? He's still here and he's still giving us hit after hit after hit after hit. So definitely something huge to look forward to this Friday, having a nice chat with KO. But don't forget that you can still catch up on the conversations we've had today and many highlight conversations of the week. Hang out with us on our website website, www.channelafrica.co.za. All you need to do is click on the programs tab on our homepage, navigate your way through the various shows that we have here on Channel Africa, all quite unique and all fantastic. But click on this show. This is On the Move, and under our show's details, that's where you can find our podcast. Your weekend is sorted, especially because it's winter here in Johannesburg and in South Africa. But wherever you are, whether it's cold or warm or somewhere in between, we've got you sorted for the weekend. Listen to our podcast and have yourself a lot of fun. We're also live on our social media platforms like YouTube and Facebook at Channel Africa 1. That's where we are on YouTube and Facebook. You can simply search Channel Africa. Stream us live. Let us know where in the world you are tuned in from. Ask questions to us and the guests, and of course, engage in the conversations of the day. It's going to be really, really fun. At Channel Africa 1, that's once again our social media handles on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, as well as on YouTube. But we can also hear your voice. Yeah, you're allowed to actually say something here. Find us on WhatsApp, +27 63 406 9126. It's the one we've been waiting for. Let's go on a break and come back to KO.
Channel Africa and you have got something in common. The thirst for knowledge. The Morning Switch Weekend with the Shy Guy.
Matuka Wanji Nonse, Zukani, the Shy Guy, a Morning Switch.
Have you ever listened to a song and then it gives you goosebumps? Cause it takes you way back in the 80s. My goodness. Yay. Woo. Hey, baby. You hear Yvonne Chaga Chaga there. I wanna talk to the DJ. And then the DJ goes like, hey baby, I've got you on the other side. Huh? There were no WhatsApps then, right? There were no sliding in the DMs at the time. Oh man.
Your weekend mornings are activated with the Shy Guy on the Morning Switch. Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
But now we shine bright, lighting up the whole city. We by far, bright stars, go get us. We fly high, G5 will.
More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent. African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices. English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa because Africa's voice.
That is like a time span, like we went back into history, into another time zone.
And in fact, it was like a fun time zone.
Yeah, absolutely. That is Double HP, the glorious Double HP, and the fantastic group Tear Gas and Liquid Dip there. That one is titled I Was Born for This. And we're exploring the staying power of one of the contributors of that one. That's KO, moving into 19 years into the music industry. We're just speaking
Nice.
about his longevity, and he's able to actually impact not just within the hip hop community, but outside. But we know his songs like Sete, Kara Kara were actually global phenomenons, and also very much hits here on the African continent, not only from a South African context. Born Ntokozo Mdluli in Soweto, south of Johannesburg in 1980, the skilled lyricist emerged in 2006 as part of the iconic trio Tear Gas, and then he pursued his solo career in 2014 and pioneered a Kwaito hip-hop hybrid style that he dubbed Skanda Rap. KO joins us on the line.
Skanda King,
how are you
Mr.
doing?
Cash Time.
They say you're the king of cool, aren't you?
Hey, how you guys doing on this beautiful Friday?
Doing good, man.
We're good.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for joining us and chatting about this. I mean, we were speaking about it off air, the fact that you do have this staying power. We kind of listened to that song, we're like, this is a completely different era of where we were in our lives. But you have not just reinvented yourself, you've stayed true to a sense of being, but also you've actually maintained a sense of prominence in terms of your popularity. You've created hits. You're not just there in the background. You are kind of one of the main kings of hip-hop right now in South Africa. And I think you are one of the most pioneering right now, amongst others. So tell us a little bit, how do you attribute that staying power?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, none of this is happening just based off my own willpower or anything like that. You know, my longevity largely has to do with how I was brought up. Of course, God and a whole lot of hard work, and the fact that I think more than anything, just learning how to pivot. You know, whether that was maybe second nature based on the fact that one was able to, you know, get some type of formal education and going to, you know, varsity, graduating, and just getting the fundamentals in order before getting into the music space. So all those things, and also just remaining a student of the game regardless, because you learn until you die, and if you're operating with that view, I think you can actually go further in life. So that's basically just been my formula up until this day.
You know, KO, we were speaking about the various transitions that we have witnessed in our hip-hop culture. And back in the day when people were just emulating the American way of doing hip-hop through the accents, but also the way that they rap. And then South Africa really changed things up with the Kwaito scene. And then after that, we saw that transition of, you know, hip-hop that means something to who we are. So in our own languages, in the context of where we are, where we stay, and how we do things. And your era, and Tear Gas in around 2006 was also a huge pivot point and transition in the world of music, where we still had a strong focus on, telling the stories of our people and where we are, but also a transition into a cool kid era that was almost like private school hip hop, but still keeping it ghetto. Tell me about that 2006. It was really a big moment when you guys came into the scene as Tear Gas, and you guys brought in something fresh into the scene.
Yeah, it was quite a paradigm shift, if I may put it that way.
Yeah.
Just because of we came in at the peak of Kwaito and house, and you know, there was Brenda Fassie at the time who was crushing everything. So us coming in with the formula that we came in and seeing it land the way that it did, it just it was so encouraging, and it put the battery on our backs to actually continue honing our skills, and also just preaching the same message to our fellow peers in the space, especially within the hip hop fraternity, to say it is very important for us to study and be conscious of the market that we are servicing, because when you are in the music business, you basically are you're doing a sales pitch in a way, because you want to have you want to put your product in front of the people, and you want it to perform at its optimal level. And by doing that, with that view, you need to make sure that the music, for instance, and the presentation and everything else, that you establish that common ground with the audience that you are trying to cater to. So learning just those new nuances as we were packaging the music and understanding the sonics of South African culture and everything else. And that's why it was important for us to even dabble into what quite the I guess the platform that Kwaito had already created for us, especially on as far as urban culture, because it wasn't too far off from hip hop, but they were just doing it their own way. So if we were, with us bringing hip hop to the fore, it had to almost kind of have the same DNA in some way, shape, or form, just to make it more relatable. Even hip hop is obviously more sophisticated. And it's just been so interesting, just learning all these things and all these twists and turns in terms of how one navigates these waters. Sometimes you have a good season, sometimes it's on the low side of things, but you remain focused and remain sturdy in your journey, because the wheel always turns. So when the new wave comes in, you appreciate that and you respect it and you study it, and then you sort of kind of borrow whatever that you can borrow from those people. And then when the tide turns yet again, boom, it could be your season. So I operate with an optimistic view, and it's been like that ever since.
Yeah, you've been a shapeshifter in a way. You've been able to adapt to different environments in the music industry. At times you've kind of pivoted, like you say, moved into an entrepreneurial environment, and you were able also to come back into the scene, kind of feeling the environment of what's happening at the time, feeling the sense of where the music is, and then you'd come back with a hit without us expectation. That shape-shifting, what characterizes it? I'm curious about that. How do you actually mark the indicators of what's happening in the music industry at the time? Looking forward to getting those little bit of nuggets of thought of how you do that. We'll come back to you, KO, after this short break. Stay there on the line.
Download the SABC app and take Channel Africa with you everywhere you go. In this episode of Channel Africa Conversations, Peter talks to Dr. Tulisile Buddha, an academic, author, and an expert in indigenous knowledge systems. Join us for a compelling discussion on preserving African languages and traditions in the digital era. Dr. Tulisile unpacks the role of educators, explorers, and how technologies like AI can support cultural preservation, and challenges us to rethink how we honor African heritage. You can find the episode on YouTube, SABC Plus, and on our website, channelafrica.co.za. This episode is a must-listen for educators, creators, and change makers across the continent. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Start your day right with Channel Africa Breakfast.
That smells delicious.
Live, 5 days a week.
With almost 2 decades ticked right as a marker and indicator of his longevity in the music industry, today we hang out with KO, Mr. Cash Time and Skanda King himself, chatting about his career, his music, but also his new release called Paracity, and of course just all the different pivots he's made during his almost 2 decades in the industry. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's speak about that, right? You speak about the fact that in the music industry there'll be off seasons, and we've seen so many artists go through that, right, where they're so popular and then all of a sudden they're not what is in at that time. And usually what happens is that we see those artists retreat and sort of go into themselves, go into a corner, many sort of unheard of again. But it feels like every time you go back and every time you retreat during what you would call an off season, it feels like you're cooking, it feels like you're reimagining and retransitioning into a new era. Give us insight on what happens during those off seasons that has you coming back with usually new sounds, new ideas, and really big hits.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's almost kind of like um, it's not hibernation, but it's more like evolution, where if you're looking at how certain things play out in the animal kingdom, a snake sheds its skin every season, but it's still the same snake in a way. So to me, it's almost kind of like you need to, every other season, you need to almost kind of, especially now where our attention span is so short in terms of consumption of anything and everything.
Yeah, that's so true.
You also need to understand that evolution needs to happen periodically, as often as possible, for you to forget what you knew and learn something new. I mean, there's AI, there's I mean, when we started, there was no Amapiano, there was no Om.
Yeah.
But, those things came to the fore and, they hit hard. And when a wave like that comes and it hits you in the middle of your momentum, you need to either go with the wind or surf it as much as you possibly can. Also, it will probably take you to another part where you need to be at. So by that, you basically just learning how to navigate those waters. And for me, I encourage a lot of the people that I have conversations with, especially within my space, to say, when it's not your time, you need to be comfortable with the idea of someone else is in the forefront now. And instead of you being distraught, you need to actually just sit there and study that person, why, understand what are the things that are making that person successful or maybe relevant at that particular time. Then while you are doing that, you are also just like a soccer player or an athlete. Just because right now soccer is off season, it doesn't mean that people are sitting at home and doing nothing. They are in the gym right now. Ronaldo is in the gym right now. Some of our boys from Bafana Bafana, they go to practice every day.
Yeah,
and that's just how it's supposed to be. Just because it's not happening in front of the cameras or in front of the world doesn't mean
it's
that
not happening.
Exactly. The workout doesn't have to stop. So that's basically how I approach this thing.
Yeah, I wish we could touch on so many things, but maybe we can. Let's kind of maybe try fuse everything that you're up to right now in one go.
Yeah.
You've got a new album out, Paracity. You've got your label out, and you're working in fashion. Tell us a little bit about where you are right now and what you're thinking about your career and where you want to move things.
One of the things that I'm actually very excited about that I'm a part of, there is a new product that is currently being rolled out in mostly the disadvantaged areas of our community, like in the townships and the villages. It's basically a Wi-Fi product recently launched. It's called Fiber Time. It's already being rolled out in Alex, in Kukuletu, Kailicha, and all those places. So basically, how people need to make sure that the community is eligible. Basically, you go onto the FiberTime website, which is fibertime.com, and get in there and vote for your community, if it's Soweto, if it's Tembisa, or wherever. And the more votes that come in, then that product basically gets activated in your neighborhood. So basically, it's just fiber for the entire family. You can basically just, as soon as you have a router in the house, you can either buy day-to-day, packages, or a monthly package and stuff like that. So it's a product for the whole family. And for me, little things like that are so encouraging because I come from a disadvantaged background myself. I come from a small town in Mpumalanga called Pichuchi. And for me to be where I am today, I had to basically change locations, and I'm in the big city, and that's how my dreams kicked off. But for some people today, because of the internet, they are able to now, launch their careers from wherever they are, So when being part of something like Father Time is something that is basically, it applies to my interest in community development and giving back to my people. So I'm a part of that. And also I have my fashion labels, Kind World. And of course the album Parasite is out right now. I have a single that we're busy pushing right now with Casper Nyovest called Supernova. The video is coming out pretty soon.
I love that. So Parasite is out with new collaborations, new hits like Supernova, like Togoza, and lots of collaborations there with different people from the hip-hop world, but also from the general music scene. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, KO. I think it's great to sort of hear your longevity, where it stems from, and how you continue to evolve within music, but also in all the different things that you do as well. And of course, helping the community. It's incredible. Thank you so much for your time.
Much appreciated, and thank you for having me on the show.
Love that. That is KO, hip-hop entrepreneur, and of course, Kanda King, Mr. Cash Time, hang out with us right here on The Move. It's almost 11:30 Central Africa time. In the background, coming through from his brand new album titled Parasite, is this one titled Paradise, featuring Young Stunner.
Nice play of words there.
Yeah.
Tonight the lights is off. I could have gave my sister some money, but I went to Diamond Walk. You got in and Zondo killing me slowly. Can't believe it. Taking out my dancing with the homies. She never lonely. Can't see the future. Think I'm mentally paralyzed. Living the paralyzed. Take me.
With Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu.
Featuring Young Stunner, coming through from his brand new album launched on the 13th of June. Paradise is the name of this one from the album Parasite. It's 11:30 Central Africa time. Musibudi Makura is back with our latest sports update.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Very good morning from the sports desk. Now, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament finally gets underway this weekend, with the host nation Morocco opening the tournament with the Group A clash against Zambia at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat on Saturday night. Morocco were runner-ups in the last WAFCON tournament back in 2022 and will be looking now to go one step further this year, though they must also first tackle a stiff challenge from the Copper Queens of Zambia, who finished third in the last edition of the tournament and could be considered dark horses for the title this year. After the opener on Saturday, Sunday features a trio of matches. Senegal up against the Democratic Republic of Congo in Mohamedi in the other Group A fixture in the late afternoon, before Group B takes centre stage in the evening. In Casablanca, we'll get to see Nigeria, the WAFCON most successful team with 9 titles, facing off with Tanzania at the Labri Zowal Stadium, before Algeria take on Botswana at the Pere Jego Stadium. This, of course, for the first weekend and the first match weekends of the Women's Africa Cup of Nations tournament. For the field now, Bayern Munich winger Serge Gnabry says they are relishing the challenge to face one of the most informed teams right now when they take on European champions Paris Saint-Germain in the quarterfinals of the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, the French Ligue 1 outfit dismantled Inter Miami by 4-0 to progress to the last 8, while Bayern also scored the same number of goals in a 4-2 victory over Flamengo earlier on this week. Gnabry complimented his side led by Luis Enrique, but also believes that they can match the quality of Paris Saint-Germain and Atlanta, Georgia, on Saturday.
Honestly, it will be a difficult match. Paris has an incredible run. They won the Champions League, so they will have a lot of confidence. But we don't back down. I think we are a very great team. We've played good so far in this tournament, so I think will be for everyone a very exciting match.
Now, PSG will also have the odds on their side coming into this match, and this Gnabry acknowledges the former Arsenal player is confident if they follow Vincent Kompany's instructions, they can see a result out of this game and a positive result for them.
We just play our game. I think they know also what's coming their way. It's not going to be easy, but if we just manage to play like we used to play, I think they will also have it difficult. For sure, I would say the favourites because they won the Champions League, but it's a new match, a new opportunity, so we will be ready.
All right, so that match kicking off at 6:30 p.m. Central African Time tomorrow. It will be the quarterfinals, or rather, a quarterfinal at the FIFA Club World Cup. And other matches that are taking place today, kick-starting the quarterfinals, Fluminense up against Al Hilal. That's at 9 p.m. Central African Time. And then Palmeiras up against Chelsea for a place in the semi-finals of this competition. In tennis news now, American Ben Shelton was furious when play in his second round encounter with Rinky Hichikata at Wimbledon was suspended because of bad light as he was about to serve for the match. So after winning the first two sets 6-2 and 7-5, the 10 seed Shelton from the USA was leading 5-4 in the third and potentially on course to wrap up his progress within a matter of minutes. But with the time approaching 9:30 p.m. local time and the sunlight also fading, the umpire on court 2 announced that this match will no longer be taking place this evening, or rather will no longer be continuing, and much to the frustration of Shelton. Now, the two-time Grand Slam semi-finalist angrily then questioned the officials about that decision, which now means that he has to return today on court to potentially just play one game, denying him a full day of rest. Well, Andy Murray's match-worn shirt from his historic 2013 Wimbledon triumph could soon adorn the wall of a lucky fan's home for all the right price after it was put on auction along with the other pieces of sporting memorabilia from this year's tournament. Now, Murray claimed 2 of the 3 Grand Slam titles at Wimbledon and also ended Britain's 77-year wait for a men's singles champion at the grass court Grand Slam back in 2013 when he defeated Novak Djokovic in straight sets in the final. Now, one of the 3 Adidas shirts the Scots wore in that match is up for grabs in an online sale held by Graham Budd Auctions in partnership with the Golden Age of Tennis, with the auction set to conclude on the 13th of July. That concludes your morning sports news right here in Channel Africa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11714 4459. For Channel Africa Sport, I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Africa in Business on Channel Africa.
The president of the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, Badea, Dr. Sidi Ould Tah, he is vying for the presidency of the African Development Bank, the AFDB. He positions himself as a fervent defender of economic integration and structural transformation on the African continent.
So I do believe that I have a 360 view of the development challenges in the continent with my experience from both the supply side and the demand side. But more importantly, my vision is to bring on board all the stakeholders and to have a holistic approach for the development of the continent and to develop partnership across the continent and outside the continent, bringing all the stakeholders together to work for one goal is to make Africa green for life and livelihood of the African population.
Bringing the African markets into your home. Channel Africa. The African perspective. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Hey, let's step into our business and find out what's happening there.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Benjamin and Palesa. Good morning once again. Angola hiked the diesel price by 1/3 from today as part of the government's drive to curb costly subsidies and shore up public finances. The African oil-producing country has been gradually removing fuel subsidies since 2023, encouraged by the International Monetary Fund. Its economy is under pressure because of a slide in the global crude oil price earlier this year, and it faces external debt repayments of about $9 billion in 2025, including a Eurobond maturing in November. In South Africa, 3 people alleged to be part of a syndicate involved in printing and distributing counterfeit money will be back in the South Africa's Pretoria Magistrate Court on Thursday next week. The accused, who are Cameroonian nationals, appeared in court yesterday during their arrest in Ladus Park in Pretoria on Tuesday. They were found in possession of machines used to print counterfeit South African rand and US dollar notes. The National Prosecuting Authority, Slumka Mahanjana, says one of the accused tried to bribe police with 2,000 rand in exchange for their release.
Police were patrolling and found one of the accused persons in possession of the printing machine, who then took them to a guest house where the other 2 were busy operating a similar printing machine and printing counterfeit money. During their brief appearance in court, the matter was postponed to the 10th of July for bail investigations.
The National Consumer Commission of South Africa, NCC, says it has noted with concern that a number of independently owned supermarkets are still not adhering to the Consumer Protection Act, CPA. This after the Commission conducted a series of inspections in rural and peri-urban areas and uncovered serious violations that threaten consumer safety and market integrity. The violations include selling expired food and failing to label products correctly. Prudence Muilwa is the NCC's head of complaints and investigations.
It does look like the management of the supermarkets are not necessarily clearing the stock in order to ensure that things that have expired, things that are not good for consumption, are kept off the shop floors. And this may result in what we have seen in the past, wherein consumers suffer foodborne illnesses and also are exposed to the kind of food that is not fit for human consumption.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the country will likely still be subjected to the 10% tariff rate on all exports to US, but the government will continue to try and negotiate for an exemption. A 90-day pause in the U.S. reciprocal tariffs are set to expire early next week, with President Donald Trump threatening to send letters to countries laying out the tariff rates they will face on U.S. imports. When asked if Australia will still stay on the 10% baseline tariff rate after the 9th of July during an event in Sydney, Albanese said he assumed that would be the case. And finally, sales of foreign branded mobile phones in China, including those of Apple, fell 9.7% year-on-year in May, according to data released by a government-affiliated research company today. Calculations based on the data from the China Academy of Information and Communications Technology show that May shipments of foreign branded phones in China fell 4.54 million handsets from the same month last year. As the largest foreign mobile phone maker in China's smartphone-dominated market, Apple's performance plays a significant role in the overall data of foreign-branded phone sales in the country. Let's have a look at financial indicators at this hour. $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,000 Naira 529, Botswana 13 Pula 10, Kenya the dollar is at 128 shilling 415, Zambia 24 kwacha 5. BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is at 5 real 42, Russia 78 rubles 94, India 85 rupee 43, China 7 yuan 16, South Africa $1 is at 17 rand 16, $1 is 73 pence to the British pound and 84 to the euro. Commodities, gold is at $3,339, platinum at $1,386 per ounce. The price of Brent crude oil, $68.71 a barrel. That is all from me. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send us an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or you can call us on +27 11 714 459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Chandruko Ligege.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. #OnTheMove and connect with us.
Este é o Caleidoscópio de Canal África, com Remo Samo e João Yabalá.
O surto da cólera em Angola tem causado grande preocupação, afetando já mais de metade das províncias do país. Simultaneamente, a Agência dos Estados Unidos para o Desenvolvimento Internacional, USAID, um dos maiores doadores mundiais de assistência humanitária, decidiu não priorizar os países com maior incidência de malária. Para discutirmos as causas do alastramento da cólera em Angola e os impactos dessa decisão da USAID, convidamos o Dr. Jeremias Agostinho, médico e mestre em saúde pública, para partilhar a sua visão sobre o tema.
A doença, nesse momento, representa o maior risco de saúde pública que nós temos. Nos últimos anos, a nossa preocupação esteve sempre centrado com os casos de malária, os casos de tuberculose e também de infecção por VIH-Sida. A forma como, em pouco menos de 2 meses, os casos de cólera vêm aumentando, acaba por representar, nessa altura, um dos maiores desafios que o país tem. É expectável que, nesta fase, o número de casos venha a aumentar.
De segunda a sexta-feira, das 20 às 21 horas locais, este é o Caleidoscópio do Canal África.
Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa.
Hey man, what a great interview we just had with KO, South African hip-hop artist, entrepreneur, Mr. Cash Time, Skanda King. And it was great to find out what it takes to, stay true to yourself and continue to, transition into new eras, even 20 decades into your career. KO definitely is doing a fantastic job, and I can't wait to see how well his new album, Para City, does. But it's also great to see you guys interacting and being a part of the conversations. Of course, as you know, we are live on our YouTube, streaming there at Channel Africa 1. We're also live on Facebook, and we see you guys there on YouTube. Richard Powell saying, I'm glad I found you guys on YouTube. Keep up the great work. This is Richard in Antibes, France. Richard, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's great to have you there. We also see Fran Mdleleni say, hey guys, hey Fran, it's great to see you. And he says, next time please play Square Song J. Keep it up. We certainly will, and we'll try to get that song for you next week. Sunday Oluwatomisin say hello. Hi Sunday, it's great to have you with us there. Kanyisilen Tlapo saying, we love KO. We love KO too. He is fantastic. Will he be performing a song? Unfortunately, he didn't, but maybe you can catch out his new album titled Para City. We also have another hello and shout out from Amodeni Mary. Thank you so much for joining us, Amodeni. It's great to have all you guys joining us there on our YouTube stream. We love you. Stay with us here on Channel Africa. And thank you so much for being a part of the Channel Africa family. Well, as we keep things moving, let's groove into the weekend with a little bit of music.
Life and living and never Thanksgiving, it don't know it's Shonda Peasy, the girls I'm over easy.
Getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m., 5 till 6. We put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joël Moteba. We go to East and Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochitika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones. On air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana. 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders.
Keeping on, that is Tyler's Push to Start. This is a collaboration with the ever solid Sean Paul. Takes us to 48 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. Thank you for live streaming us there. Thanks to everyone who was actually commenting on the KO interview. Thank you so much for joining us there. Remember, we're going to get out of here very, very soon. Coming up is the Africa Update. You'll get the latest news on what's happening on the African continent. This is when you get facts from facts to facts, and making sure that we stay in the pulse of what's happening on our African continent. As much as it's very rare to find accountability here on the African continent, the media is definitely an important part of that accountability system. So on that show, we'll be looking at different scenarios happening in different parts of the continent. Lulu Gabu will come in and let us know a little bit later what's coming up on that particular show. And yeah, we always love making sure that we hold ourselves accountable as Africans. So that's a great show that does that for us.
Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Darubini ya Afrika na I am Henry Shakif.
Hawa wa Afrika Kusini wenye asili ya kizungu ambao wamepewa ukimbizi huko nchini Marekani. Je, nini chanzo cha wao kuomba ukimbizi nchini Marekani?
Wenyewe wajaomba ukimbizi. Kuna shirika fulani inaitwa AfriForum, shirika mbili za wazungu ambao wanatetea haki ya wazungu hapa, AfriForum na Solidarity. Hao walienda Marekani kufanya kampeni kusema kwamba wazungu wananyanyaswa hapa Afrika Kusini, na walivyofanya hiyo kampeni, serikali iweze kuwafuatilia kujua nini ambacho mnasema kwamba mnanyanyaswa.
Kuna namna ya wao kwamba wamepoteza uraia wa Afrika Kusini, na je, endapo Trump akamaliza muda wake madarakani, uhalali wao wa kuishi nchini Marekani ukoje?
Itakuwa vigumu, kifupi itakuwa vigumu wenyewe kupoteza uraia wao.
Darubini ya Afrika 11 kamili hadi 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
9 to 12 midday Central African time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama. Keeping you on the know and on the move. Across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda as they bring you breaking news, sharp analysis, and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Gabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5 p.m. 5 till 6, we put on a little bit more color. Vue d'Afrique with Joel Moteba. We go to Eastern Central Africa and find Darubinia Africa with I Am Shakif. Madapiri gives us some life. Zochi Tika, 7 till 8 p.m. Mariamo Kumalo comes in 8 till 9. We get some useful knowledge. Kalodiscopia. 9 till 10. We take a look in Africa and beyond. Africa World Hour with Sipiso Makwetla. And we close it up with some love. The Hotlines with Shailen Dikumana, 10 till 12 p.m. on Channel Africa. Across borders, across time zones, on air, online. This is Channel Africa. Africa has a voice, and that voice is Channel Africa. It keeps you in motion, speaking, singing, questioning, rising. Wake up with Rise and Shine, 6 till 9. Peter and Asanda, as they bring you breaking news.
The one titled Lanke, and that takes us to 53 minutes past 11 o'clock Central African time. DSTV channel 802, OpenView 628 is where you're listening to us on the audio bouquets and streaming us any time of the day, 24/7. Remember, we are on www.channelafrica.co.za, and don't forget the SABC Plus app. The SABC Plus app is pretty cool. That's where you can find us on that radio station section on that particular app. Download it on your phone. You can actually also go to the website www.sabcplus.com, and you can also find us on that platform. It's a great platform for you to actually have everything that the SABC is all about on one platform. And of course, stay tuned right here on Channel Africa. Hey man, it's the weekend. It's around the corner. It's actually here for us because we're getting out of here.
Of course. Highlights of the week, Benji?
Highlights of the week, as always, has to be with you. Just being with you, buddy, is enough. Forget everyone else, all the guests, all the topics.
And also the quiz.
The quiz. We'll deal with the quiz. The quiz needs healing.
Hey,
the quiz needs someone to put hands on the quiz and pray for it.
Well, everyone, the Channel Africa family, please pray for the quiz because it's getting us into trouble. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening there. But I think, one of our conversations about the coming of age conversation, great highlight there. Mm-hmm. And this conversation with KO, really top tier. So great ones for the week.
All right, man. Lulu Kapoor has just walked in. Let's take a bit of a breather. Let her sit down and hang out with us. She'll let us know what's coming up on the Africa Update.
This Mandela Month, Channel Africa invites you to walk in the footsteps of a giant. From the prison yard of Robben Island to the halls of the United Nations, Nelson Mandela's legacy reminds us that service, compassion, and justice are the building blocks of real freedom.
En cette journée Mandela, que nos actions fassent écho à son héritage.
Alionyesha dunia ya kwamba sauti moja yaweza kuhamasisha mataifa.
Mandela ensinou-nos que a liberdade não é dada, mas sim conquistada através da coragem e sacrifício.
Join us as we reflect, remember, and reignite the spirit of Madiba across the continent. This is more than a day. It's a call to action. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, Lulu Kapoor is with us. Hey, Lulu, what can we expect on the show?
Hey, it's a happy Friday. We love Fridays, don't we? So today we're going to be focusing on, foreign nationals in South Africa having dug their heels, saying that returning to their countries of origin is not an option. In some countries it really is. There really is major crisis, and we can understand. So we'll basically unpack that with Advocate Simba Chitando, who is a human rights a lawyer, and he'll be focusing on Zimbabweans as well, and apart from Zimbabweans, just foreign nationals in general, and what it means for them to leave their homes, their home countries, to come to a country like South Africa or any other country where they are, trying to make a living, to be able to send money home. So
I wonder
that's
if South
another
Africa
big challenge.
is it still a destination of refuge?
Of
Because
course.
we as South Africans ourselves are going through our own things.
We are going through our own things, but one thing I think as South Africans we need to appreciate the country that we live in.
Hey, Mara, the unemployment
regardless of the issues. I mean, look at the US.
Yeah.
A big first world country. Look at the crisis that they're facing.
They also
United Kingdom, Europe. It's across.
Well.
It's across the globe. It's not only South Africa, and the fact that we can still, look at our country and be able to engage with each other and smile about what we have. We need to start being more patriotic because
absolutely,
we are called the America of the continent. So
I
we
feel
need
like
to appreciate that.
we absorbing all these pressures from different parts of the continent, and I wonder how long we can hold on, eh?
South Africans are very resilient.
Yeah.
Very resilient.
Okay.
We need to appreciate
I love your
that
optimism.
part.
I love your optimism.
So we have to be optimistic, and a lot more coming up in Africa.
All right, thank you so much for that optimistic note. Definitely, it is an important show with the different correspondents, experts from different parts of the continent, making sure that you are in tune of what's happening in your beautiful continent. Well, we're going to leave you with the Wonder Band, and this one is titled Ego.
Sharp analysis and the voices that shape the day. At mid-morning, we get on the move with Palesa and Benjamin, digging into the African lifestyle, people, and the things that make Africa smile. 12 till 1, Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, getting in-depth, powerful stories, and the perspective you won't hear anywhere else. The Upside, 1 till 4, live and real, with Tepuho Likweleni and Nompumelelo Ngubeni. Tame Ngubeni talks money, Africa in business, 4 till 5.